Hi, my name is Joe Seckelman. Today I want to talk to you about Japan and Mexico, two unique countries that share a similarity. Mexico and Japan have the same population. They each have 126 million people. Mexico, according to The Economist magazine, is ranked as the 15th largest economy in the world, and Japan is ranked as the third largest economy in the world after the United States and China. Mexico has almost 10% of its population living in the United States, with and without documents combined. This is according to the Pew Hispanic Trust. I find this very hard to believe. Mexico is a very rich country. Mexico has 5 times more land than Japan. 5 Japans fit into 1 Mexico. That means Mexico has much more area to grow crops, more room for people to live, and Mexico has tons of natural resources. It has oil, gas, gold, silver, copper, iron, manganese, sulfur, phosphate, zinc, tungsten, molybdenum, mercury, and gypsum. What does Japan have? None of the above. Mexico should be ranked the 3rd strongest economy in the world, and Japan should be ranked something less. In 2019, Japan had less than 0.5% of its people living in the United States legally and illegally combined. Mexico, however, as I just said, has almost 10% of its entire population living in the United States. And let me be clear, this is not Mexican Americans who were born in the United States. This is 10% of everyone born in Mexico and who is still alive today in 2019, now lives in the United States. This includes people with and without documents combined. That is an astounding figure, almost 10%. Why? There's no famine in Mexico. There's no tsunami. There's no war. There's no terrible disease. Mexico is a very rich country, but it cannot feed nor employ all of its own people. And somehow Japan can. It's really hard for me to understand this. Mexico, with all of its advantages, its large land site, its huge bounty of natural resources, should be number 3 economic power in the world. But sadly, it's number 15, and Japan, with all of its hardships, lack of resources, is number 3. Is this due to culture? History, educational levels, government policies, corruption, or something else? I believe one of the main reasons for the difference is education. In Japan, education is next to godliness. It's super important to the Japanese government that Japan, the whole country, be educated. But in Mexico, education is considered a privilege. According to the Japanese government, approximately 94% of all Japanese have at least a high school diploma. However, for Mexico, Reuters News Service reports only 45% of Mexicans finish high school. Also, 59% of Japanese finish college and university, and only 25% of Mexicans finish. I wish I could tell you why a rich country like Mexico produces $19,000 per year for a Mexican person, and Japan produces $43,000 per year for a Japanese citizen, and Japan does not have 10% of its motherland living in a foreign country. Imagine if Mexico could be more like Japan. They would then be number 3 economy in the world. But for some reason, the Mexican government would prefer 10% of its population live elsewhere and remain in the 15th economic world ranking instead of achieving its true potential, and Mexico being ranked the number 3 economic power in the world.